Hello, sentence surgeons. So this week we have a sentence that's a little unique, and I'm going to go ahead and read it out loud. Then we'll decide what type of sentence it is. It says, "And there, in the court of the Shah, he saw something strange." Now, Shah, we're going to figure out that means a type of leader. So even though that word may not make sense to some of you, it's going to make sense. It's fine. Just think of it as being like a king or an emperor. But in there, in the court of the Shah, he saw something strange. Okay, it ends in a period. Does it have a command? Does it suggest that somebody do something? No, it doesn't. It's just telling you about something. So that makes the sentence declarative. Okay, and if we're thinking about the types of sentences that we've been focusing on, there's simple, there's compound, which we had last week with If I Built a School, and then we also have complex. Now, complex sentences, not surprisingly, are one of the hardest types to understand, but basically a complex sentence is this type of sentence. So we're going to write down complex. And it's not just because of the words or because it has 2 commas in it or anything. It's specifically because there is more than one part of the sentence that really kind of can't be by itself. So that if we're using like grammar words, we have independent clause and dependent clause. So an independent clause would be something like, he saw something strange. If I said that by itself, that could be a complete sentence. Now, it's not just by itself, so we're going to just call it an independent clause. It's part of this right here. But we have another part of the sentences. In there, in the court of the Shah. That could not be by itself. So that is called a dependent clause because it depends on the rest of the sentence to make sense. We can't just say that by itself. And there, in the court of the Shah. What? Like, there's something that you wouldn't understand if you didn't know the rest of the sentence. So that is dependent. So I'm actually going to underline our dependent clause in red. Oof. This marker is getting dry. And then we also have an independent clause, which is, he saw something strange. And we know the word independent means you can do it by yourself. In this case, it can stand by itself. And so this word complex, it's almost like, I'm just going to do both of these colors underlined. It's like part of it can't be by itself and part of it can. So you kind of have to have both. Now, a compound sentence would have like both sides blue, like 2 lines and they're both blue. And a simple would just be like 1 line and it's all one color. Okay, so we have determined that we have a declarative sentence and it is complex, not just because of the words in it, but because it has a dependent clause, which depends on this part of the sentence to make any sense at all. Okay, so moving on from there. We start this sentence with the word and, which is not very common. We don't normally start a sentence with the word and, but an and is a conjunction. Because you would have in the court of the Shah. We just happen to have and there in there too, as almost like an introduction to the sentence. So a conjunction would usually combine 2 parts of a sentence, but we have it at the beginning. That's why it's a little strange and a little unusual that we have it there. Right, the word there is an adverb. It's not a thing. It's not a place. In this case, there is describing the court of the Shah. Okay, we have the word in, which is a preposition. It's showing the positioning. The court is in, or the something strange is in. Sorry, it's like the sentence is all like flip-floppy. Preposition. Okay, so that would make this a prepositional phrase. In the court. So I'll call it a prep phrase. The, we know, is an article. Simple little filler word. Court is a thing, so it is a noun. Then we have of, which is another preposition. So guess what? We're going to have another prepositional phrase. And the is still an article. And Shah, we said that's a leader for a specific country. So that's going to be a noun. So of the Shah is also a prepositional phrase. Okay, so he is replacing the name of the character. We don't know who he is yet. We do know the book's called Jonas Hanway's Umbrella, so we could assume that he might be Jonas Hanway, but we don't know. It's replacing it, so we're going to call it a pronoun. Saw is an action, so it's a verb. Something is replacing the name of whatever that object is. He saw an elephant. He saw a potato. He saw a tornado. Whatever it is, this word something is actually replacing what that is. So we're going to call this a pronoun. And the word strange is describing the pronoun. And because it's describing a pronoun, we can call it an adjective. Strange. Something is strange. All right, so let's go down to the subject. So because it's a complex sentence, that means we don't have two verbs in the sentence. So we don't have two predicates. We only have one. And we can see our verb right here. It's saw. And who saw? He did. So he is the subject because saw is our predicate. So he saw. All right, so for being complex, it really wasn't that complex. Well, now was it? Bye, guys.